My Toyota Tundra is missing something, and I'm happy about it. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Rob Motive FST. And that's right, my new Toyota Tundra is missing something, and I am happy about it. You know, first of all, let me tell you, and this is part of the reason why, I'm sitting outside right now. You can probably tell I'm in the Tundra. It's sunny outside, kind of partly cloudy, but pretty darn bright, and about 61 degrees or so. So that's kind of why I'm able to sit in a Tundra with a coat and a long sleeve shirt on and not be sweating to death just yet. And my truck is black, by the way. So what am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the sunroof. You know, I used to love sunroofs back in the day. I would open them up, cruise around, and I guess that changed as I got more mature. I'm not a fan of them anymore, except for one reason, and only one reason, which I found out recently doesn't work so well for me anyway. And that is to suction a camera to them. You know, you have the glass or plexiglass, whatever the heck it is, that is the sunroof. And I could stick a camera up there and get different perspectives as I was driving around. The problem I found with that is the picture, the video was always shaky. So that didn't even really provide a good platform for me to be able to shoot videos for the channel. So not being able to do that, I'm really happy to not have one. But why? You know, first of all, and my wife loves them, let me tell you, but I'm not a fan. First of all, I like the extra headroom. You know, I'm not 8 feet tall anyway, but I like being able to be inside the Tundra and have the extra space. It just gives me a bigger sense of space inside the Tacoma. It feels gargantuan in here anyway, but when you add the extra headroom because you're not losing anything due to that whole sunroof assembly, you ever seen what those look like underneath your ceiling? That's pretty substantial. So I don't have that. I've got more room, and if you are a vertically gifted person, then you'll appreciate not having it there. Secondly is the glare. You know, with them open, especially on a day like this where it's really bright and really sunny, you get a lot of sunlight coming through there. And when you had, I say had because I've changed it, all the chrome and stuff that was down inside the console area and around the vents and all that stuff, you would get little flashes or little blinding lights depending on your angle as you were driving around because of the sunshine reflecting off of all that chrome. Another good reason to de-chrome the inside. Next is in the winter times. Now, I don't have to deal with that so much anymore. I live in South Texas. You know, today it's 61, going to be 70 degrees, and we're almost in December. But when I lived up north, up in Ohio, where we did have winters, I could always feel the cold radiating off that hole in the top of my truck. You know, even with the cover slid shut, always just felt colder driving around, and I could feel that radiation of cold air around my head way up until it got really hot inside the truck. And of course, I'm too impatient to sit and wait for it to heat up, so I'd take off and just suffer through it. Never was a big fan of that, just didn't like it. Next up, I would never use them in the summertime, you know, when they're really supposed to be used, I suppose. And that's because when you're in stop and go traffic, which is a lot of the driving that I do right now, and you have that sunroof open, you've got the sun blasting down on you from up above. You know, when it's 90 some degrees and humid outside, it's not very comfortable sitting in the truck with the sunroof open. And again, I would close it even then because I didn't want the light shining down on top of me, or the heat rather, from the sun. So I didn't even use it. I would have it closed all the time. Now, speaking of light, you know, I prefer dimmer lighting anyway, except for when I'm shooting videos. Otherwise, I prefer a darker scenario, dimmer light. Of course, when it's sunny outside, and it doesn't even have to be real sunny, it could be cloudy. When you open that up, it just lets a whole lot more light into the truck. Now, that's pretty specific, I guess, or personal preference, because I know there are a lot of people out there who love to have, you know, the cabin area or whatever room they're in or whatever, just flooded with light. I actually like it kind of dim. So again, I would have it closed all the time. I paid for that thing, but I would never use it because of that. Now, the last reason is maintenance. You may not realize this, but if you're going to have the truck for a long time, there is a little maintenance involved in having a sunroof. Now, not only the working parts, I mean, things are moving around in there and you have to keep them lubricated, right? Hopefully the shop does that when you take the truck in, as opposed to when there's a problem and you get to pay more money to have it fixed. But I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about the seal. You know, there is a seal around that opening that the glass pushes up against to make sure that the water doesn't come in, right? Now, if you have the truck for a long time, if you don't take care of that seal, it's going to get brittle, it's going to get hard, and it's going to fail. You're supposed to lubricate that seal every once in a while, and it's not often, maybe, you know, once or twice a year, depending on the area you live in. And I would say if you're in an area that has a lot of dust and stuff in the air, you probably ought to clean it and do it more frequently, because obviously if there's dust on the seal, it's not going to make the contact it should be making with the glass. But anyway, once or twice a year or so, you should really lubricate that seal to keep the rubber up there nice and supple, so that when the glass hits it, you get a good seal around there. And I really doubt a lot of people do that. You know, I don't even know if they put it in the manual anymore. I do recall seeing it years ago. I think it's probably when I had my first sunroof, about just a little blurb that was about maintaining the seal around your sunroof. Something a lot of people probably don't think about, and honestly probably could care less to do, until it starts dripping on their arms while they're driving around. Now that would be a bummer. So anyway, as you can probably tell, I'm not a big fan of sunroofs. I'm glad I don't have it in this truck. Fortunately, I didn't pay to have one. I had it in my last Tacoma, and that's when I decided that given the choice, I would never have one again, because it's just a waste of money and not something that I ever use. Anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Are you a fan of the sunroof? Do you have one in your truck? I'd be curious to know. Also, do you do the maintenance? Do you actually lubricate that thing once in a while? Does anybody do that? Leave a comment. Also, if you're interested, I do have 2 additional channels. Rob Motive, all about my 2021 Toyota Tacoma, and Rob Motive JT, all about my 2020 Jeep Gladiator. Check them out, and if you're interested, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.